Good morning, Wien Academy. It's Monday, September 20th, and this is our 5th WA TV episode of the school year. I'm your host, Sienna Davis, and in today's episode, we'll find out who can do the best voice impressions, and we go for a drive to learn more about boba teas. But first, reporter Kenna Tolman was on site for the ribbon-cutting ceremony and unveiling of 2 murals in downtown Glen Ellyn. Check this out.
For the people of Glen Ellyn, thank you.
2 8 x 10-foot murals by world-renowned artist Tony Fitzpatrick were recently unveiled on Main Street in downtown Glen Ellyn. Mr. Fitzpatrick, who grew up in DuPage County, painted the murals as part of the College of DuPage Public Art Project. The murals feature colorful woodpeckers and cardinals, birds native to Illinois, along with pop culture images. Mr. Fitzpatrick shared that he believes that art is best made via community efforts, which is why he was honored to have the opportunity to create this work for Glen Ellyn. The murals are the first step in Glen Ellyn's collaboration with College of DuPage to add more public art throughout the village. The village hopes to be a center of art and culture for DuPage County and plans to create at least 2 more public art installations in the future. From WA TV News, I'm Kenna Tolman.
Let's catch you up on a few announcements for the week. Wien Academy mathletes will be competing with teams from several other high schools this season. The team is coached by Mr. Royce, and they will have their first practice 1 week from today on September 27th at lunch in room 103. The Project Lead Discipleship team is hosting an event called See You at the Pole on Wednesday at 8:25 a.m. This will be a time of worship and prayer for our country, our community, and our school. Anyone is invited to attend. This year, on October 19th, the instrumental and choral departments will host an Evening of the Classics, a night of music recitals and solos in small groups. If you're interested in performing, please send a YouTube link of your video audition to Mr. Williamson no later than Wednesday, October 6th. And finally, the arts journal known as Overflow is now accepting submissions into this year's journal. You can submit up to 3 pieces per person. This could be short stories, photography, and even original music. Submit your work to journal@wascholar.org by December 10th. This past Saturday, the instrumentalists had a fall retreat here on Wien Academy's campus. This was a great opportunity for each instrumental class to see and interact with the other students in the program. The day was led and organized by Mr. Williamson, and the time culminated with a performance on the Fine Arts Center lawn. With perfect weather that evening, each group was able to perform at least 2 different times for the audience. And of course, the Shack truck was there, bringing a little extra joy to the end of the evening. Lainey Jones and Sophie Shelton connected with the sophomore transferred to ask him a few questions about himself.
Hello, this is Lainey Jones and Sophie Shelton from WA TV. Today we'll be interviewing sophomore Teddy Koskinas and asking him get-to-know-you questions.
Teddy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I transferred into WA this year from West Chicago. Before that, I was homeschooled, and I've always lived in this area, so...
What is your favorite thing to do outside of school?
I have 2 major hobbies. I like playing disc golf for one. I also love playing guitar, singing, dancing, acting. It's all great.
Who is the most inspirational person in your life?
Other than my parents, I feel like that's a given. Cross country, all my friends from cross country are great and influential. Coach Royce, he's also a math teacher. He brings up some great topics that we like to talk about.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I've always liked Spider-Man, so I guess it would be that.
If you could eat with any famous person, dead or alive, who would it be?
I don't know, I feel like this is kind of like an easy question for a Christian. I would have to say Jesus, but that's kind of generic.
Now that we've gotten to interview Teddy Koskinas, make sure to go and say hi to him. This is Lainey Jones and Sophie Shelton from WA TV.
Back in 1992, ShareTea started as a to-go business for black and pearl milk teas in Taiwan. Since then, they have branched out to 300 stores in 16 countries, and one of those locations is right in St. Charles. Marielle Domenko gives us more.
Hello, I'm Marielle Domnenko. I'm here at ShareTea, and I got to have the opportunity to interview an employee about what ShareTea is and more.
So boba is a type of drink that is most popular in Asia, where we have a bunch of different toppings, and then we have fruity drinks and like more refreshing ones, and then more like delicious ones, and they also come iced or hot. My favorite drink right now is the taro pearl milk tea with the topping of crema, which is like this like salty, savory, thicker foam that goes on the top. I would say our most popular drink would just be the basic classic black pearl milk tea.
With big wins and heartbreaking losses happening last week, Grace Platt catches you up on all the latest Wheaton Academy sports news.
What's going on, Warriors? I'm Grace Platt, and welcome back to another Warriors Sports Zone. Let's get you caught up on all the sports action from the past week. Both the girls and boys golf teams are away at the MSC Conference Championship today. The boys have remained undefeated this season, and the girls are currently sitting at 4-3. The girls tennis team is currently 3-4, with both a loss against Timothy Christian on Tuesday, followed up by a win against Ridgewood on Thursday. They have a great chance to get up to over 500 on this season's 3 matches this week. Come out and support them on Wednesday and Thursday at home. The boys football team defeated a conference opponent, Bishop McNamara, by a score of 34-14 on Friday night. After finding themselves tied up at halftime, the boys followed up a huge defensive stand with a game-winning drive in the third quarter to keep the lead for good. David Dorn had a couple of touchdowns to lead the offense, while Cappy had 2 sacks and 2 tackles for the loss on the defensive side. And finally, boys soccer extended their win streak to 5 on Tuesday night, but followed that up with a heartbreaking loss in penalty kicks to conference rival Timothy Christian. They have 3 games this week. Tuesday will be home and live streamed, while Saturday's game will be at crosstown rival West Chicago's brand new field at noon. Get out to both to support the team. And speaking of soccer, Viwe Baleni is a senior member of the varsity boys soccer team. Because of the pandemic, he had to spend a year and a half in his home country of South Africa. Reporter Haitham Nassar and photographer Jake Miller have more on this story.
Here in the U.S., certain restrictions were difficult for us, but we had certain freedoms and liberties that other countries didn't have. Other countries had to deal with the pandemic differently, and for South Africa, you had to stay at home all the time. Only lawyers, doctors, and government workers were able to leave. For Viwe, having to stay at home all the time was very difficult. However, because of that, Viwe was able to grow closer to his family. He was able to spend more time with them, and his entire family was able to be together for a much longer period of time. We all had to adjust a certain way to the pandemic, but for Viwe, it was a very challenging and difficult adjustment. From South Africa and a 7-hour time difference, he had to learn on Zoom without teachers next to him to help him with his studies. All of us would struggle to not be near our peers and classmates, but Viwe also had the struggle of doing that in a completely different time zone.
The pandemic has impacted us all in many different ways, some of us more different than others. So if you see Viwe in the hall, stop by, have a conversation with him. This is Haitham Nassar from WATV, signing out.
The worship team is an essential aspect of chapel life here at Wheaton Academy. Reporter Casey Nichols and photographer Gabby Mitchell reached out to 2 of the worship team members to talk about why they decided to audition for the team and what their hopes for the year are.
I love worship team because I get to be a part of a group of people that it's not as much of a competitive atmosphere, but we still get to grow and learn, and we get to praise Jesus along with it through worship and through song and use our gifts and talents to glorify Him. That's really special.
I've been doing worship team just for the 1 year. This is my first year on the team, and I chose to do worship team because the way I like to worship is through music. It's just how I feel really close to God, and I wanted to be able to do that on a regular basis.
I really feel like God's working through the worship team, that we're able to make chapels a time of just engaging time with God, not just through listening to a speaker, but also through worshiping Him through music, and getting to do that together is something so special and so wonderful to have back in the schedule of school.
I feel like God led me to do worship team because He saw that I was struggling a little bit in my faith, and He knew that I needed an outlet for myself to express myself to Him. And I think God is working through the worship team just because it's a great place of community, and we're all there for one reason, to praise God. And it's just a fun time for us to get together and worship Him.
With chapel being such a big part of our community, the worship team is such a big contributing factor to it. Without the worship team, our chapels wouldn't be the same. From WATV, I'm Casey Nichols.
And before we wrap up this show, Tyler Abrams went to look for students and staff with a rare hidden talent, voice impressions.
I can do a killer Ron Weasley, but only in The Prisoner of Azkaban right after Hermione goes to punch Draco. Hermione, no! It's not worth it!
I am the Senate. It's So Miss Burek thinks I do a really great Kermit the Frog. Let's see. Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here.
This is an impression of Gollum from The Lord of the Rings.
My name is Captain Jack Sparrow. I look a little bit like Mr. Lehman. There's only two things, really. What a man can't do, what a man can't do. What a woman can do, can't do. Savvy?
We want to post some of your photos and videos of school life on future WATV episodes. DM our WATV Instagram account with photos or videos that you would like to see on our upcoming shows. And of course, give us a follow if you haven't already at The Real WATV. That's all for us today. I'm Sienna Davis, and from all of us at Studio 22, have a great day.